Have you ever wondered how broadcast and virtual production deliver a noiseless and clear vocal, even in a challenging audio environments? Today, we are here with Cameron at Web3 Productions in Dubai, who's going to walk us through their solutions and audio workflow.
Hi, I'm Cameron Van Dijken. I'm the broadcast engineer here at Web3 Productions. So we are an XR broadcast studio that does a mix of vertical and also live shows for broadcast.
I'd like to know more about the audio challenges you face in this production environment.
So we have three challenges that kind of become a bit more of a problem in our environment, which is we have, first of all, the massive LED volumes. Those LED screens are highly reflective, increasing your reverberation time. And as well as the ceiling, for example, and the floors, I can't acoustically treat because we have tracking systems on both sides. So it tends to have a lot of standing waves in our larger spaces as well as our smaller spaces, which is something we have to fight constantly. And when paired with our third problem, which is open cardioid microphones, we have to adapt the way it sounds to get the best result. And that's because not only are we doing it in virtual production for post-production, but as well as we're doing it for live broadcast. That versatility needs an adaptable solution.
What was the solution you've implemented to overcome this?
So first we tried the Yamaha Dance, which was a really nice solution at first. We've tried the Apollo x16D as well, and we've tried two products from CEDAR, which was the DNS2 and then the DNS8D.
What differences did you notice compared to the other tools or solutions you had used before?
So Yamaha, we already had Yamaha Dance, which was already integrated within our workflow. So that was an easy solution to apply directly on and created a good result for what we were looking for. But there was a lot more depth that we could go into. And then we tried out the Apollo x16D, which is a 16-channel over Dante, which was a really nice solution because of the flexibility. We were able to use that on all of our studios simultaneously, and it became a very good cost-effective solution. C-Suite was producing the results that we were looking for because I was able to adjust to the room in particular and be able to remove a lot of those standing waves that I was finding in our smaller studios. And it meant that I could target specific challenges that, for example, Studio A didn't have, and that's where we needed a separate solution for that one. So then we tried CEDAR, which provided a different solution. I mean, it's a worldwide benchmark for broadcasts. People like WWE, MTV, and a lot of productions around the world use CEDAR. So for the DNS2, the thing that for us didn't necessarily work about it, first of all, it was only 2 channels, but second of all, it went out via analog, then for us went back into digital. That whole conversion for us needed to be a bit more seamless in an IP-based workflow, which is where the DNS8D came in because it integrated straight into Dante. We're able to put it on outboard equipment and then run channels through it directly without having to move any analog cables at all. And additionally, it had the 8 channels, which for our Studio A, our main studio, we're running 8 lapels, which is really where we needed that additional treatment. And it was a much more solid addition to the studio to produce the best results.
Can you walk us through your signal chain and show us how everything is connected in the control room?
Sure, let's take a little tour downstairs and we'll go through all of the products.
So, how has the IP-based workflow changed the way your system operates?
The IP-based workflow has really changed a lot for XR studios and broadcast studios in general, because the days of manually plugging in XLRs and SDI cables everywhere around is gone because you can IP and route everything. The hardware that we've now integrated, which is the Apollo x16D and the CEDAR DNS8, all fits perfectly into the Dante workflow. So I can fully allocate a certain unit for processing in any of my 4 studios without having to move the hardware physically. All 4 of my studios, they want to work flexibly. So you could have a commentator in one studio upstairs that's commentating the live game show that's happening in Studio A. And through XR, we can make them look like they're in the same place, like it is a full-on arena and they're looking down. So being able to have that flexibility to route audio from one studio to another, route the latencies, and be able to apply DSP for each channel is really important. So the Apollo for me bridged the higher DSP count, meant that I can allocate them for my 3 other studios. So I can have all of those running without having to really change anything on the DNS side.
Since it's everything IP based and everything connected through the Dante, so how do you compare both as the hardware versus the software?
I have some of my computers that are running quite heavy softwares, Pro Tools, Ableton for playback, monitoring softwares all at the same time. If I load a bunch of CPU-based plugins directly onto that, it will hinder the performance of the other tasks that it's trying to do. So if we start with Apollo, it's a bit of like a hybrid. Everything's in a dedicated hardware unit, and I'm able to attach those plugins, not just for C-Vox, which is going to be doing noise processing, but also for band mixing. I'm able to apply some of UAD's best plugins directly onto band mixing. If I want to do any amplifier emulation, or if I want to do any changes directly into the sound or like a master bus chain for my outputs, I can do that through Apollo and quite flexibly. Whereas DNS 8D kind of fits on the other side of that. It's a dedicated hardware unit for noise processing. It's the best at what it does. And I say this wholeheartedly, I'd pick it every time, it's worth the money. And it really is quite flexible. I'm able to adjust the bias and the attenuation of it. It can adapt the learning algorithm directly to the sound source. So whether you're trying to remove background noise or focus on a specific target, it's able to bring out the life into it. Because, you know, if you're only working with just EQs and no noise processing, if you have AC, like I mentioned earlier, if you have huge reverberations, you have to do such like a high cut onto everything. And it kills the naturality of the voice. And a lot of the times I see it as a standard in broadcast, depending on the region you're in. You know, they'll go cheaper on broadcast and it sounds cheap.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds cheap. And why should it? You know, if we have the gear and everything for it, why should it? So that's the thing that we try to achieve here in our studio is high-end delivery, regardless of whether it's pre-production, post-production,
me seeing
or live.
all this
Yeah,
crazy, insane stuff.
I mean, it's a
in the
massive studio.
Yeah, it's massive. So you're mentioning all these technical things, how easy to set it up, how easy to get the right result that you're talking about, like by setting it up.
The DNS 8 and also the Apollo are quite simple in the fact that you have your primary and your secondary Dante on your card, and then you have your control ports. And the reason you'd have a control port on something like the DNS 8 is because you're able to then, you can do live monitoring anywhere. So we have dedicated VLANs for everything. Whether it's audio, it has its VLAN. Video, it has its VLAN. And if it's control, it also has its VLAN. And it keeps it separate. So for some people who are getting into it, it might not be the most intuitive thing, but for a high-end setting as a deliverable, the DNS 8D fits perfectly into that.
So mentioning the both units, the x16D and the CEDAR DNS 8D, have you experienced any latency with any of these units?
Yeah, the latency is marginal. It's the standard, because everything's over Dante, it's the standard Dante latency, which is to be expected.
So basically now we are connected, so these mics you're using is going through all the same setup that you were talking about.
Yeah, so it's all going through the DNS 8s. So you can hear it now. So we have these LED processors in all of our studios. In the smaller one, it's more evident. In the larger ones, it's less because of course the size. But you have these huge reverberation sounds, which you're hearing right now. And as soon as you apply DNS, now, so I'll apply it now. And I'm assuming it's applied. As soon as you apply DNS 8D, it automatically clears up. So when you apply the learning algorithm, you need to kind of understand how it grabs the sound source. So you'll have to listen to it in a learning environment.
Reading the environment.
Yeah, and as soon as you set that calibration, it stays very static. So after you set that calibration, you then just have to adjust the bias and the attenuation to adjust kind of where you want the algorithm to be set as.
So it'd be great if you can show us now, like from starting point, from the microphone to the signal chain, how you're setting up the bias and the attenuation and the learning algorithm, let's say.
Perfect.
And yeah.
Yeah, so it's really simple. We have our ULXDs that come in through RF, so they pick up all of our packs, as well as our handhelds. We have Beta 58As that are around the studio. They all come wirelessly into RF to here, which is my ULXDs, into Dante, and they go to all of our consoles.
Cool.
Then after that, we then go from our consoles down to processing units, whether that's the Apollo or whether that's the CEDAR. and then we make the attenuation from there, and we make prints as well for multi-track playbacking as well through Pro Tools. Yeah.
It sounds very simple actually. There's not too many things in the single chain.
It's not complicated.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you so much for showing us around today. Everything here looks amazing and even sound amazing as well. After hearing the A/B results, it sounds like it solved a lot of issues what is going on here. Anyway, man.
Pleasure.
And if you need a demo or to explore more, please feel free to visit MediaCast Experience Center and get in touch with our team directly. Thank you.